several years ago, I was suffering very badly from eczema on my hands and my feet. In fact, I remember it being so bad on my hands, the skin was just so raw and broken that I couldn't do any, I remember not being able to do up the buttons on my coat, for example, and I had to wear cotton gloves on my sort of round the house when it was at its worst, and nothing was working. I was slapping on steroid creams, and even they weren't doing anything. I just was at my wit's end.
I've had psoriasis since I was about 15, which is about 11 years, off and on. Sometimes worse than others. Mostly on my knees and elbows was the main place until that flared up on my hands and my arms. I just couldn't do nothing really. I mean, silly things like pick up a cup, make a cup of tea, anything like that. I just couldn't use my fingers, didn't have a lot of grip in my hands. I just looked really horrible. I didn't go out at all, because people looked at me as if I had some disease or something, you know.
I thought, how odd, I'm drinking something for my skin, but hey, I don't care, I'm desperate, I'm willing to try anything, any light at the end of the tunnel.
But I was felt down, very isolated, and generally just fed up. I mean, you know, you couldn't do much at home, didn't obviously go to work.
Probably after a few weeks, maybe about a month, I realised that something was happening. The itching was getting less, my skin was starting to heal, and I realised something was happening because of this drink. And also, I should add that he asked me to try the propolis cream as well, as that I could slap as much of that on as I wanted, no side effects, no worries. So I did use the two in combination, and after a good couple of months, my skin had started to heal, and I was, for the first time, for maybe 10, 12 years, I felt hopeful that I could do something about this horrible condition.
First saw an improvement, I would say, about 3 weeks after starting the treatment. It was, the swelling had gone down in my fingers, the skin was still dry and cracked, but it wasn't as sore. And was generally more pliable. I could bend my fingers, they wasn't so stiff and rigid. It did, you know, just start to disappear in places.
I looked down and my hands were unrecognisable, almost. And I think, how can people imagine that no, she doesn't really suffer from eczema, you know, you can't see it, but they are like new hands.
My hands, as you can see, are completely healed, obviously a bit scarred. I can bend them, move them, do what I want, back to normal really. I've had no reoccurrence of anywhere where it's come up, so I'm pleased. At the end of the day, it's a lot better than what the doctors could do for me.